All right, budgeting 101. What is a budget? A budget is simply a plan to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Okay? And budgets should be done monthly because every month is different. Okay? Obviously, right now, this month is a lot different than, say, January was with everything that's going on. And the reason I wanted to do this workshop here today is for those that, number one, a lot of people are getting your stimulus checks, I guess you call it, or checks from the government, from the IRS, your $1,200 if you're single, $2,400 if you're married, and plus $500 for kids under 17. And just hope to be able to catch some people before you do something with that money maybe you shouldn't do, all right? So also, there's a lot of people out there that may be losing jobs, unfortunately, and or having reduced hours at work, and their income is lower. So now's a really good time to take a look at your budget and make sure that you're doing your best to be able to make your payments each month. Okay. So this could go on for a little while because we're going to actually help you build a budget. Okay. And I'm doing it on this whiteboard right here. However, what I encourage you to do is just get out a piece of paper. It could be a blank white piece of paper. I like those ruled, the legal pads. You can simply use that. Just get a pen and paper, and let's get busy working on your budget. Okay. All right. So again, before I get started, in case anybody drops off, I just want to encourage people with the post I made this morning. The money that you're getting from the government, please put it back for a rainy day. You could say right now is a rainy day and what times are going on. Even if you have a job and you're feeling pretty secure about things, I would advise you to put it back and hold on to it till all is clear. Even then, I'm going to walk you through the baby steps and what to do with that money once things finally do clear up and you are free to make the decisions on what to do with that. But don't go out and buy a new TV, don't go out and buy new furniture, etc. Put that money back. It's meant for rough times. It's meant for people that are going through hardships and maybe loss of job or income. And it's meant to be used to make your mortgage payment, rent payment, and such. Okay? So here we go. We're going to jump into the... What I'd like to do first is I'm going to create a budget based off an income of $40,000 a year. I'm just picking that number just because it seems to be an average for this area. Okay. So if your income is $40,000 per year, what you do then is take that divided by 12 and get your monthly, which is $3,333. Okay. And then figure out what your tax bracket is, and most people, somewhere around 25% of your income is being taken out for taxes and other reasons. So about 3/4 of that equals about $2,500 a month that you ultimately would have to work with after taxes. All right, so that's just your main income. You could also list other sources of income if you do some side jobs or if you got some hobbies that are creating income as well. List, and if two of you are working, list all your income. That's the number that we got to start with and work with right here. Okay. So in this example, $2,500 a month. All right. So then you do this on the right side of your piece of paper. And then on the left side, you start a list. I wish this whiteboard was flipped the other way, more portraits that are landscape. We're just going to do our best here. Okay. So when it comes to your expenses, I always have giving at the top, okay? And then after giving, and then also savings. So giving and then saving. And after giving and savings, then we want to focus on your four walls. Okay, the four walls are the most important things that you got to take care of. And that includes your rent or mortgage. So basically, food, shelter, utilities, and transportation are the four walls. You got to keep the lights on. Gotta have some heat, AC. And then you got your food. So, and then transportation, you got your car. Okay. We all got to eat. We got to feed ourselves so we can stay alive. And then we all got to have some transportation or means of getting us to and from our job so that we can continue to create an income. All right, so let's put some numbers to these. So if you're giving and you're tithing to a church or something like that, most of the time that's about 10% of your income. And so in this case, I'm going to use round numbers. Some people go off the gross, some people go off of the net. I tend to lean towards the gross, but we're just going to pick an even number here of $300 for giving. Saving, I'm going to leave blank right now. Okay? We'll walk you through the mortgage or the baby steps after this. Okay? And then you want to look at what are you paying for your rent or mortgage. And in this case, I'm just going to figure about $800 a month. And the way I come up with that is I took the number that you make monthly. Now I don't have a calculator with me because I'm using my phone to do this Facebook Live. But you take your monthly income and you want your mortgage or rent to be about 25%. Whether that's the gross or the net, depends on your comfort level, how you want to do that. But you don't want your mortgage or rent to be more than about 25% of your monthly income or 1 week's of paycheck. Okay. The utilities is something else, and I'm just going to figure about $100 a month for electric. Food. Okay, so food can be broken out in a couple different things. So we got grocery. I'm going to call this grocery. And then dining. All right, we're going to figure too a typical family of 4. Okay, so for grocery, I see a lot of people spending about $400 or $500 a month, and that includes your toiletries and things like that. Toilet paper if you can find it, and then dining. I'm just going to throw in here maybe you're spending about $100 a month for going out to eat. The next thing we want to look at is other utilities that you might have. Do you have water? If you're in an apartment, you maybe don't have to worry about it. But if you own a house, then you got a water bill. Maybe that's $20 a month. And then trash, you might have to pay to have the trash picked up. Another $20 a month. Again, I'm just using round numbers here to make the math simple. And then, let's see, if you can think of any other utilities, that would be great, but that hits the majority of them. There might be some gas. Maybe you have natural gas. It's not gas for the car, but if you have gas heat, okay. I'm going to flip one over, and at some point I'm going to start another list down this way. Again, if you're using a legal pad or a long piece of paper, you probably have plenty of room to make your whole list of expenses. All right, and then we get into our transportation, the car, okay? So, do I have car on here already? Nope. All right, if we're figuring the average person here is going to have a car payment. That's not what I teach people to do. It's not what Dave Ramsey teaches people to do. We like people to have their cars paid off. Okay. The average car payment in America is around close to $500 a month. It's crazy. For this example, we're going to do a $300 a month car payment. Okay. If you have a car, that means you got car insurance. Okay. Car insurance may be somewhere around $100 a month. Again, that's going to vary depending on how good of a driver you are, how many tickets you've got, how young you are, and etc. Some other types of insurance to think about is health insurance. And life insurance. Okay? Some people have their health insurance included and with their job, so I'm going to leave that as a blank right now. Same thing with life. Although you might consider some extra term insurance for life. That'd be another topic for another day. All right, just about everybody has to have some internet. All right, it's just almost like a utility. It's something that you got to have nowadays. So internet is another expense. If you're using Spectrum or Charter or something like that, it could be around $70 a month. Okay, cell phone is another necessity. Okay. The average cell phone bill for a family of 4, probably not $100. It's probably, I'd love to see you guys put in the comments. Again, I can't see those right now, but what are you spending per month on your cell phone bill? If you're an individual or if you're a family of 4. I know our family of 4 is actually, it's closer to about $180 a month for cell phones. Something with cell phones too is if you're going out and getting a new cell phone every year or every couple of years, then you likely have a cell phone bill in addition to your cell phone service. Okay, that cell phone that you're paying $30 a month for is actually debt. Something you should consider is saving up cash when you go to upgrade your next phone and just buy your phone outright, and that'll lower your cell phone bill. Okay. Other things that people have is things like subscriptions like Spotify, Netflix. Okay, so if you just take a look at all the subscriptions that you have, monthly subscriptions, you just add them up, what does it come to? I'm going to throw $20 a month in here for that. Okay. Now, again, I don't have a calculator on me. I should have brought an extra one in here. But if you look at these, the next thing you want to do is after you list your basic needs and basic expenses that you have is you add all these numbers up. Okay? And if anybody there has a calculator, can help me out. I don't know if I followed my example exactly. I might have changed some things up, but I think we're just a little bit over budget. Okay? So again, if somebody has a calculator and you're kind of the nerd and checking on things for me, I'm going to swing around, check the comments, see if anybody's added these numbers up for me. That would be cool. But if this is the right number, or if our monthly income is $2,500 and we're at $2,560, then we got a problem. Okay? We got to adjust something. We got to fix something. And the thing about this budget to make note of is that we don't even have other bills on here that most people have. Things like credit card payments and student loans, or if you have another car payment or some type of other loan. That type of stuff is not on here right now. All right? I'm going to flip around, take a look at the comments, and then come back. Give me just a second. All right. Okay, so anyhow, we're just going to go with this number for now. And again, there's some other things, so just to jog your memory, some other categories that you could have in your expenses would be things like dental. Do you have to pay extra for dental? If you got kids, what are your school expenses for the kids? Do they need lunch money? Do they need new clothes coming up when the new school year starts? Speaking of clothes, you got clothing yourself. Or if your clothes are getting ragged and you need to go out and get a new pair of shoes or something like that, then that could be in the budget as well. Hair care, for women and men, it's going to be different. I don't have cable in here. Okay, a lot of people have their cable bill could be a couple $100 a month. If you have a home and you own a home, then you're going to have home maintenance. And you gotta think about things eventually breaking down and need to be repaired or renovated. Again, if you have a home, you might have yard care. You're either paying somebody to do the yard care, or you gotta have a mower, and you gotta get gas for that mower. And you may have to get the blade sharpened. Pest control is something else that homeowners need. So you gotta pay somebody to take care of the ants and the bugs, so you don't get flooded with that in your house. Taxes. So every year you got your taxes for the car coming out. You got your home taxes, and you got taxes coming from everywhere. Pets. Okay, it's very common for people to have pets, and that's something else I don't have in this budget right here. So if you have a dog, or if you got a cat, or some type of other pet, then there's expenses that go along with that too. Birthdays, holidays, okay? If there's any birthdays coming up, any holidays coming up, are those in your budget? Are you thinking about those things? And then with your car, we don't have on here car maintenance as well. Okay, so you're going to have to get oil changes. You're going to have to get your tires changed at some point. These are all things to think about when it comes to creating a budget. And why it's that much more important that you strive to be debt-free. So if we are over budget here, what do? Okay, so a lot of these items in here are fixed budget items. Things like your rent and mortgage, you can't change that. Your utilities are generally going to be about the same. Your water, trash, your car payment's going to be the same until you pay it off, of course. All right, most of these items, again, it's hard to change. So what can you change in your budget to make sure that you're not over budget? Okay, so the first things you look is the variable things, the things that you can control. All right, and that would be your grocery and your dining. And also any extra things such as your subscriptions that maybe you could live without. Okay, so that's why Dave Ramsey preaches and teaches beans and rice, rice and beans. All right, so take a real hard look at your food eating habits. How much are you eating out? What are you spending on fast food and quick food because you don't have time to cook? And what are you spending at the grocery store? Is there a way to do smarter shopping to bring your bill down? So that's the first thing you look at in a budget. And the other thing you look at is just those unnecessary expenses. You've heard a lot about essential, things being essential versus unessential when it comes to jobs and the economy right now. So you got to look at what's essential in your budget and what's unessential. The essential things are your four walls. You got your food, your shelter, utilities, and transportation. So I hope that helps as far as creating a budget, a plan and what to work on. Just want to quickly go over with you the baby steps again to financial peace and what to do with that money coming from the IRS that's getting dumped in your account. Okay, so the first one here is to get $1,000 in savings. Okay, for an emergency fund. The statistics show that 8 out of 10 people could not handle a $1,000 emergency if it came up. In other words, saying, your savings account, you may only have a couple $100s in there, if anything. So to keep you from having to use the credit cards and go into debt, the first step is to get $1,000 in the bank. So if you get that money back from the IRS and you don't have $1,000 in the bank, that's the first thing what you should do with it. Okay. Second step is to pay off all your debt, except for the house, using the debt snowball. So take a look at your debts. What's the smallest one you have? If you got a credit card for a couple $100, and then you got another one for $500 and another one for $2,000, you start out with the small one, knock it out, gain some momentum, and then move on to the next one. Step 3 would be get 3 to 6 months expenses in your savings account. Okay? So if our expenses are going to be $2,500 a month, and for a lot of people it's more than that, then you need $7,500 to $15,000 in the bank at all times, just sitting there for pandemics or loss of job or you name it. I mean, we're experiencing that right now. How would you feel? And I know 8 out of 10 people are probably watching this because that's what statistics show. Don't have 3 to 6 months in your savings account. How would you feel if you had $10,000 just sitting there? You lost your job. What would that do to your stress level? How much peace could that give you, knowing that, hey, things are going to be okay? It gives me a couple months to find something else, find more work. That's the idea behind all this. Now, if you are in a position where you're without a job and your income's been reduced, it's okay to pause baby step 2 and stop. Just make your minimum payments just to stay good with your creditors, and just start dumping everything you can into savings. So in this case, if you've got your check from the IRS and you may have lost a job, don't worry about trying to pay off, a $3,000 car note at this point. Just dump that money into savings and just let it sit there until this all passes. And then once this all passes, then you can decide, all right, go back to the baby steps and say, all right, I'm going to keep $1,000 in here, but anything over $1,000, I'm going to throw at my debts. So if you owe $3,000 on that car, and you're getting a $3,400 check, then keep $1,000 in the savings and throw the rest of the car. Because if you could eliminate $300 from your budget, then you could either apply that towards other debts that you may have, or start putting it towards savings. And I like to see people putting about 10% into savings, and walk yourself through these baby steps. All right. So there is baby steps 4, 5, 6, and 7. 4 is to start putting into retirement, 15% of your income into retirement funds. 5 is to start saving for your kids' college. 6 is to pay that house off early. And 7 is to build wealth and give. Ultimately, we'd love to be in a position where our cup is full and it's running over and we're able to give to others. All right. So there it is, my budgeting workshop for today. I hope this was helpful. And if I could have affected one person's life today, that's awesome. So before I go, if anybody out there watching or just watching this later would like some personal one-on-one financial coaching, please reach out to me, privately. Send me a message or something like that. And I'm more than happy. Everybody's picture and everybody's scenario is going to be different. I'm a trained Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach, as well as a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider for real estate. And I love helping people get themselves in the best position where they can have financial peace. Okay? So please reach out. My number is 864-414-5188. Again, that's 864-414-5188. Thanks for everybody that was joining in. If I missed something, I'm going to look this over and think about it and may think about doing this again. All right? So take care. Be good stewards and show wisdom with that money from the IRS.